This is my first time launching from, I think it's called Elsje Point, which is right at the end of Kitsilano Point. So there's a few good rocks on the south side of that point to launch from, and you can see there was a westerly wind and some swell, and I wanted to try downwinding for the first time. And I wasn't quite brave enough to head down into False Creek. So I basically stayed in this little area in front of Teetotaler Beach, and it was really hard rock starting back to the start point, the launch point. But it was, I guess it was less work than crawling up those rocks and walking all the way around and back. So it took a lot of failed starts to get back, and you can see I really needed to lean into the wind and pump like hell to get back upwind to the launch point. And once I got going, there was no relaxing or gliding. I was pumping like hell to make it back, to avoid swimming back. But it was cool. Like, this is my first experience really being in the wind, and here you can see it's protected from the wind at the launch spot, so it's a little easier to get out. But I would kind of launch and then head to the left there to kind of get a bit more out into the wind and try to glide a little bit when I could. But I found it really tough. Like, I just don't really know where to be on the wave so that I don't get stuck in the troughs and end up pumping uphill. There you can see Matthias was on his e-foil ripping around. See, I just got bogged down there, ended up like pumping uphill, and just eventually just ran out of height and touched down. Matthias had actually tried to tow me back to the point there, but he was having trouble. You kind of need to stand up and have your have the controller well above the water to get going. The controller doesn't like being in the water. It ruins the signal between the motor and the controller, so I ended up swimming back. But after a bunch of starts, I eventually got back, jumped off that rock and got back. That was really tough to get going. I crashed a bunch of times. No, he's like, double check to see if the ferry is coming before I go, because I don't want to get caught in their path. Oh, man, I remember I was pushing so hard there. I eventually ran into a friend from the Orlock and Sail club there, and I said, don't tell anybody, but I'm going to launch off this dock. He wanted to see how you do this pump foiling thing. But I don't want to get in the habit of jumping off of that dock. I don't want to cause trouble for anybody. See, when I kind of turn and then start heading in the same direction as the waves, that's when I overshoot the wave and get into the next one in the trough, and then end up pumping uphill. And that's it. I just run out of height and then touch down, and that's it. So I'm not doing that right. I guess I was messaging with Angus about this, and he said basically you kind of need to ride it like at a 45 degree to the wave direction, or even more maybe, kind of like you're surfing. And I remember right there, after a bunch of failed starts, I was like, I'm getting over there this time, and I was ripping, pushing hard. The wind had really come up here, and it was hard to get back. And eventually, Simon had showed up, so I went to the Vanier dock, and then I was kind of practicing doing some starts off of I guess it was this one was a rock start. I was trying to go out and around all of those boats, or I guess in behind them. This was, I guess, kind of almost like downwinding because there was a breeze. It was less, it wasn't as strong here. I was gonna try to slap 5-5 with Simon there. Now here we were talking about like how are you doing that motion to conserve energy, and we were kind of talking about it, and Simon was showing me, like lift your front leg, let the weight come up, and then pump. So I tried that for the next runs, and it really did help. It's a funny motion. It's like once you lock it in, though, once you get up to speed, it's almost like you're scooping or something with your feet. It's like zoop, zoop, zoop. And the wing makes a really satisfying sound when you're getting it right. It's like room, room. Like it's pretty cool. I had some pretty good runs here too. Like I think one of them was about a minute. Yeah, the wind had died down a little bit into the evening. So, and this was pretty cool because this is the first time I had jumped off that. There's a tiny little kind of like I don't know if it's like petrified wood or rock or whatever, but there's 3 little piers, or the remains of old piers that are there, and one was just sticking up about 6 inches out of the water, and it's just a tiny little point. So I did a knee start off of that one point with nothing else to jump off of, and I made it after 2 or 3 tries.